Let's find out. What is up, MC Big O? How you doing, fam?
Hey, what's going on with you, man? I'm cool.
Man, first and foremost, thank you for, coming on the show. I really appreciate it. For those that don't know you, you're from Richmond, California. Is that where you're from? Or?
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm from. I'm born and raised in Richmond, California, but I grew up in I went to high school in East Oakland, but I'm from originally Richmond. I tell people I'm from the Bay because I do it all over. But yeah, I'm from Richmond for the most part.
Oh, okay. Well, the story of Master P, No Limit Records, it begins, right there in Richmond. That's where it kicked off.
Right. Right.
When did you first meet Master P? And what was your first impression?
I met Percy in '89, and I met Percy through another cat I know named DJ Chill, who was also in the group. He used to DJ at a community free radio station in San Francisco called KPOO of 89.5, and it's kind of like the K-Day of the Bay Area, but except it wasn't hip hop 24 hours. They had hip hop shows that they were playing music that they wasn't playing on the local top 40. You know what I'm saying? So everybody from the hood kind of gravitated to that station. So I met him. Me and him used to chop it up all the time, and I used to call up and request records and stuff like that. And he found out. He asked me where I was from. I told him I was from Richmond. He told me he was from Richmond, and we just linked up. So after a little while, he found out that I was a rapper, and I was trying to get on. He was like, man, I know this cat that says he's looking for talent, and he's got a record store. And I'm like, where? And he told me where it was at. And I'm like, nah, ain't no record store there because I know Richmond like the back of my hand. So one day I ended up going down there and meeting Percy, and we kind of hit it off. You know what I mean? We freestyled back and forth. And we kind of hit it off, you know what I'm saying? He started telling me about where he was from. I knew instantly he was from down south because of the way he talked, all the gold in his mouth. And I let him know who I was and what I do and, what part of town I'm from. And we just kind of start vibing from there.
And, you said you knew he was from, down south.
Yeah.
At what point in time did you, or did he start talking about doing the No Limit record?
Well, a lot of people don't know. He had came to Richmond with material already. He had like a maxi single. You would call it a maxi single back then, where you would have two songs on one side and an instrumental. The instrumental to both the songs on the other side. So he had that, and he had actually records pressed up, so some 12 inches pressed up. So he let me hear those, and he started telling me about what he wanted to do, and he wanted to kind of. He was looking at how Ruthless Records was doing their stuff and how Easy and NWA was. He was trying to kind of rebuild a version of that. Well, he was like the EVE figure, and we was like the NWA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He was trying to do exactly what Ruthless was doing.
Right.
For Eazy-E was a big inspiration to a lot of people.
Right.
What was what was the material like? You know what I'm saying? Now this was any of this stuff that you're talking about on Getaway Clean? Or any of those first No Limit releases? No,
this was before we even did Mind of a Psychopath. He either came to Richmond with that or he did it before I met him. So I listened to it before I'm talking to you, and I heard Grandmaster Scratch on there, who was our DJ in the group. So I imagine he did it probably a few months before I ended up running into him. But it was rougher than the shit we did on Mind of a Psychopath. It was like really, really rushed, and the production wasn't all that well. So I think that's the reason why he didn't speak of it in the documentary, because he didn't mention that at all. because the song is the music is really rough and everything is rough about it, except Mr. Scratching. That was the best part of the whole song, all the songs. So he had one was What's the Deal, and the other song was called No Limit, and he was bringing that no limit energy from day one when I met him.
So he already had the No Limit song and everything.
Right.
Did it sound country to you compared to?
No, it didn't sound country. What's the deal sounded. It sounded East Coast, but it was missing. You know what I mean? And No Limit sounded down south because it's really bass heavy and slow, kind of like some stuff that Too Loud Crew would do.
Oh, okay, some party music. You know what I'm saying? Some street.
Well, it was just really slow. Right, it was just really slow bass, kind of like Posse on Broadway, kind of at that tempo, and and just really bass heavy.
Now, when you said you was already rapping at that time. Did you have any product out?
No, I was just trying to get on, man. I was a kid, you know what I mean? So I'm just trying to be a rapper, you know what I mean? At that time, that was my only mission. You know what I'm saying? I had left the block, you know what I'm saying, to pursue my rap dream, you know what I mean? So I quit selling coke, selling weed, quit doing a lot of wild stuff I was doing on the street, and start rapping. You know what I mean? I just put my everything into trying to be a dope MC. It don't sound like it too much on some of them projects, but that was my intention, and that was always my intention.
Now, at that time, you was talking about you and P was just freestyling back and forth and whatnot. Did you know, or could you sense that he was going to be, you know what I'm saying, real big like he got?
Nobody could. I think he says it now, but I don't think he knew. Nobody could really tell that kind of future. You know what I'm saying? I think he believed in himself, and I think he believed, because if you stay at anything long enough, eventually you're gonna get some kind of success. But I don't believe he took it I don't believe he thought he could take it to that level, because I damn sure didn't. I'll be honest with you. I didn't think he was going to take it that far, and the reason being is because I know where he brought it from. And I know some of the stuff he was doing while I was around him. So I didn't really see that type of success coming out of him.
Yeah, definitely. He did things that nobody ever expected, like the 80-20 priority.
Right, but what people don't understand is Percy is very smart. They confuse the Southern drawl for ignorance. And dude is sharp as a tack, and he soaks game up like a sponge. Because I used to take him all around Richmond to places that he couldn't get into without me. And he would just hang out and meet people and just soak it up.
Yeah, definitely. You know, what point in time did, you know what I'm saying, you and him have talks of, you know what I'm saying, forming the label and putting together TRU? And what was the first release that you guys had?
Well, he was already giving us the impression that he had No Limit up and running with his single, you know what I mean? So, but he started talking about he wanted to do a group right after me and him had our little freestyle session, and he wanted to, like I said, he wanted to model everything after what they was doing in L.A. with Ruthless and Eazy-E and all that. So we had to put a crew together. So he was telling me this, and he was telling DJ Chill this. And so Grandmaster Scratch was there one day, and he was talking about it. And Grandmaster Scratch was like, well, my cousin raps, so he brought him in, who was Chili D. And then at this time, Little Rick was hanging around, and Little Rick wanted to be in the group, but he was too young, and his moms wasn't going for all that. And then Silk was around too, but he hadn't became a rapper yet. He was still just hanging out and watching the store when Percy would leave.
Yeah. So now this was the first TRU project came after obviously the Getaway Clean.
Right,
but,
right. So once
the other day.
Actually, no. Mind of a Psychopath, the maxi single came out first. Getaway Clean came out afterwards. So we did Getaway. We did Mind of a Psychopath the spring of '90.
Okay, and then after that came the Getaway Clean, and then after that, the TRU.
Yeah,
project,
after that,
right?
Getaway Clean. Right after that, Getaway Clean came out at the end of the year. But in that between the spring and the end of the year, so much had happened that he got some more guys. King George was like the last person to come into the group. We didn't even know King George was going to be in the group. He just showed up because we had took pictures without King George and all kind of stuff. So, and we recorded without King George. So that's why you got Dylan Keys on a Mind of a Psychopath project, because he wasn't around for none of the first recordings we were doing, and P wanted him to be on there so he wouldn't feel kind of left out. Okay, so King George came in later. Right. But you were part of the original TRU form. Right. Right. Who was that all again? It was you, P, and who else? So it was Percy. It was myself, DJ Chill, Chili D, Grandmaster Scratch, who had been down with him all along. My cousin Magic Mark. I think that's everybody, and George. And George came in, like I said, like a little bit later. He wasn't there from the very beginning, very beginning of when we was putting it together. He came about the time we had wrote, because we used to have writing sessions in the store, because the store was like a hangout for us all at that point, because we was starting to bond and get cool with each other. So we would write a lot of stuff right there in the store while he was open. And we wrote Mind of a Psychopath right there, and we played with it for about a week and then went and recorded it. So you helped? Did you help P write? Yeah. Oh yeah. The song Danny You Can Bang Her on Getaway Clean. That's a song I wrote that I gave him. That's a song about a girl I know from the neighborhood who kind of made Vanessa Del Rio look like a church girl. You know what I mean? Yeah. We all know a few of them, don't we? Right. So I had kicked it to him, and he liked it. So he was like, "Man, let me get that. So I gave it to him. Okay. So now this is now you guys are starting to put together the Getaway Clean project, and you're on the first track, Saxophone with Sonia C, right? Right. Well, we did right after we did the Mind of a Psychopath stuff. We P actually thought it was good enough to take to L.A. So we did a road trip to L.A. and went to Capitol. We went to Priority, and we went to EMI. We went to a bunch of them, and we never did get no response. Or if we did, I never knew nothing about it. And then we came back, and then his brother ended up getting killed, and we was around when all that happened. So we kind of saw him go through that, you know what I mean, and kind of and go home. We watched the store for him while he went home and came back, and we was just trying to be there for him, you know what I mean, because none of us had took no loss like that before. And I had talked to his brother once on the phone, and he seemed like a pretty cool cat, you know what I mean. So after that, after he kind of got right from that, we started talking about an album, and at the time, King T had just dropped a song called "Play Like a Piano," with Ice Cube on it. That's why you got "Play Like a Saxophone." P liked that song so much, we ended up doing a song called "Play Like a Saxophone." And to my knowledge, much later, Mind of a Psychopath comes from the Ghetto Boys' Mind of a Lunatic. Yeah. So now everybody can can kind of understand why he did the Ice Cream Man thing, because that's kind of what he do. This is stuff. This is a practice he's always done, and that's why I left, because I look at myself as an artist, and I just couldn't be with that. You know what I mean? I just wanted to be an artist and do some real shit. And you know what I'm saying? And I'm not with stealing other people's concepts and flipping them and all that. Right now, that kind of shit is okay. People are down with that. Some people don't see nothing wrong with it at all, but I do and still do. So I'd have walked. If I had the choice to do it all again, I still would have left.
Yeah, yeah. So you left over creative differences. You felt that he was
right. Well, the thing was, we was all kids. We were all kids. None of us knew what we were doing. If it wasn't for Percy, I'd have never went into a studio. If it wasn't for him, you know what I'm saying. So it ain't just shit on him. But at the same time, back then, the person you see now, he wasn't that. You know what I'm saying? So we were all trying to learn and trying to figure it out and trying to, try to at least come together and make some music. So, the thing that was bothering me is once we finished the first project, he put on the back all songs are written by Master P. That's not true. Everything you hear me say, whether that shit is dope, you think it's dope, or you think it's straight fucking garbage, I wrote it. You know what I mean? So that was strike number one for me. So when he started kind of remaking other people's songs, I really wasn't feeling that. Deep inside, I wasn't feeling that. I went along with it because this is my guy. We riding, so let's do it. But deep inside, I didn't feel that, and I had to. At the end of the day, I had to let him know that.
Okay. So you guys kind of just said, you know what, I'm going my separate way. What did you do after you left No Limit? Did you start putting out music yourself?
Well, what I did is when I told him that I couldn't be down no more, he didn't like that, because me and him was kind of close. And by this time, everybody had kind of left. Him and Chili D would fight like cats and dogs. They was like oil and water. Them two cats wasn't never gonna get along. GMS, Grandmaster Scratch, his house had caught fire, so he wasn't down no more. So, and then Chill left for whatever reasons he wanted to leave, and then Magic Mark left for the reasons he only wanted to leave. So he left for the reasons why he wanted to leave, whatever they were. George, nobody left but me and George. So what Percy did then is he took Sonia and his sister Germany, and there was a girl who used to come around named Shamika Spencer. He made them a group called Ice Cold, and they redid the sequence song from Sugar Hill Records. They redid an old sequence song, and he was gonna drop that, and then like I said, me and him had a talk about the creative stuff. No, actually, what it was, I approached him about a contract. I said, well, you know what? I'm writing all this stuff. Give me a contract, and give me a contract. Let's do some paperwork, and then we can move on. You know what I'm saying? He could have locked me up for 20 years. I'd have signed it because at the time, this is my guy. This is who I'm rolling with. If I fuck with you, I'll fuck with you straight up, 100%. There ain't no waiver. But he gave me a contract that was a copy of a contract. So I was like, okay, this dude not really serious about, what we trying to do. You know what I mean? So that was kind of the end of it for me. So to answer your other question about me recording, I had asked K. Lou to teach me how to run a studio. So that never did happen. So what I did is I went to school and became an audio engineer. Then I started recording.
Oh, okay, I got you. Now I want to go back a bit to the first TRU project, because you sent me an album cover, And on the album cover, I want the fans to kind of know this. I'm going to put this on the YouTube so they can see it as well. It says, right at the top of the picture, it says new rap group, The Real Untouchables. And it has 4 tracks on there: Mind of a Psychopath, I'm Dealing Keys, Crooked Ass Law, Life Ain't Nothing But Bitches and Money. It has an early version of The Tank on there, and then it says now available at your local stores. And it has it has a picture of P, like and I guess you're on there as well. You guys are all dressed up like mobsters, like the Untouchables. You know, say Elliot Ness, Al Capone, all that shit. What was this project going to be? This was the first TRU. This was supposed to be that went with the first. That one was the Mind of a Psychopath EP. That was the promotion for it. So we were passing those out in the hood. You know what I'm saying? And that's like the first piece of promotion No Limit Records ever did. You know what I mean? And it was like a demo tape.
Right. Well, he packaged it as an EP, and he put it in. He ordered. We got, I think, 500 of them, and he had some in his store. There was some in Jones and Harris. There was some in TRU. They were all over the place, and plus we all had like 10 apiece, and we gave them away and all that. You know what I mean? So, but that was the very first project that we all did together. Mind of a Psychopath was probably the best song on the whole, and Dealing Keys was probably the best songs on the EP because the other two wasn't all that hot because we rushed. He would only get the studio. He could only afford studio time for like a couple hours, and then on top of that, it was in K. Lou's mom's garage, and she didn't really like people in her garage at all. So everything we did was rushed. So it sounds rushed. You know what I mean? And that was another thing that was bothering me is the quality. I'm all for the pace. The pace was fast. That's cool. Let's put out some quality shit. You know what I mean? Let's put out some shit that people gonna actually like. So you gotta understand at that time, Mac Dre was on fire with Too Hard for the Fucking Radio. You know what I'm saying? So and you had Short super hot, you had Hammer super hot, you had Digital Underground super hot. You had Oakland was just on fire, and everybody, the whole Bay was on fire back then. So that shit we was doing wasn't going to compete with everything else.
Yeah, it looks like it was just a photocopy, some green paper, you know, like real, poorly made.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what it is.
You know,
people ain't really understanding where Percy bought this shit from. The What's the Deal tape, what that is, what he used to do, he would go to Radio Shack and buy a whole bunch of chrome blank tapes. He'd bring them back to the store, and he would, you know those stamps that you use, that you stamp letters with and stuff like that, he would have some white ink, and he would stamp the tapes with it. Then he had a master cassette tape, and he would dub everything, all the tapes. Then he would take the empty jewel case and take the picture. The picture was actually a real picture, and he would trim it and cut it up and make it fit into the jewel case and put it in his display case and sell it.
Some real independent shit right there. Yeah, man. I read a lot of albums over the years for Murder Dog, and I got a bunch of stuff like that. CDR, you know what I'm saying? That would be the equivalent to what he was doing, CDR, at the time.
Right.
But
so
after,
that's what he was doing.
So this was the very first thing that he put out there to kind of let people know, okay, this is what we're doing. And then from there, he put out the actual Mind of a Psychopath, and then he put out Getaway King. And then when he went to put out the first TRU, which was, what was that, Understanding the Criminal Mind, you were already gone at that point, right?
Right, yeah, I was already gone, and I didn't even think he was going to use Bitches and Money and the songs with me on it. I didn't think he was going to do it and somebody called me and told me they heard me on the album, I didn't trip off of it. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't proud of it. I wasn't proud of the job I did, so I didn't care about it. You know what I mean? So aware that it was on there, and you know, I don't know. The album wasn't all that great received. Nobody really talked about it. You know what I mean? So I was glad I was kind of glad that it didn't get all that known, because the shit I did on there was garbage.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But obviously he got better over time. The quality picked up. His hustling skills were just untouchable.
Right.
Ever regret leaving No Limit? Like, do you ever think to yourself, if I would have just, stood around for a little bit more?
You know, a lot of people have asked me that, and I said no then, and it's still no. You know what I'm saying? Because because if I would have stayed, that doesn't mean I'd have went where he went. You know what I mean? That doesn't automatically mean that I went to the top with him. George didn't, and George grew up with him. And so I don't regret it at all. You know what I mean? I mean, I wasn't in it for the money and the fame. Maybe not the fame, but the money gonna come with it. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't in it for the fame. I just wanted to be respected as a dope MC, and that was my main focus. So I don't regret it. I mean, of course, having millions is good and all that, but you know what I'm saying? I'm cool with who I am when I wake up every day, and when I leave this planet, I gotta look God in the face, and I'll be able to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's all that matters, that you're happy with the decisions you make in life.
Right.
What about later on? Did you ever run into P after years later?
I used to run into Sonia all the time, and we would always hug and catch up and all that, because, like I said, man, we was all cool. I met his mother. His mother's a very, very nice lady. I knew I knew Silk real well. I knew his sister real well. We hung out together. We broke bread. Like I said, we was with him when his brother passed, so we didn't, been through a few things. So we was really kind of tight knit, in the beginning, you know what I'm saying? Especially me and Percy, because I used to go down to the store almost every day and hang out with him. He'd be telling me stories about where he's from, about that some cat named Meatball. That's a real person, and he would tell me about all the stuff and all the wild stuff that would go on in the Calio. You know what I'm saying? And I would tell him about all the wild stuff that goes on in Richmond, and places to go and not go. We would share all them old war crack stories, you know what I'm saying? So, I haven't seen him since probably then, face to face to talk to him since probably like 90, 91, something like that.
Wow.
So while he was, ascending, I was just learning my craft, you know what I'm saying? I studied, like I said, audio technology, and became a certified studio audio engineer, and then I started recording. You know what I mean? I started learning how to record, techniques, everything. You name it. I learned everything, all that old MIDI stuff, everything. Know how to work an automated board, everything.
Did you, you said you met Silk. Did you meet C Murder?
I never met C Murder. Never. I never met him. Like I said, I met his mom, I met his sister, I met Silk. Silk was always around. I didn't know about C Murder till after, kind of when it got close to me leaving. So I knew about his brother Corey, because I talked to him on the phone once. But I think C Murder, I didn't really. He didn't really talk about him like he talked about Corey.
Yeah. He, it's amazing though, all these years later, now telling the story. But why did they not get at you and some of the other guys?
You know what? I have no idea. I think for me, I think when I left, that bothered Percy. You know what I'm saying? Because after I told him I was done, he came to my house like later on that night, and we had like a big discussion. Whether he was talking to my mom about it, and you know what I'm saying, and telling my mom, you know, he ain't making no money, and I was like, dude, it ain't about the money. It's about, you know, it's about the way we doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's about that. So the boss and the businessman that he is now, he was far from that then. But like I said, we were all kids. We were all
learning.
Kids. And then, right, we were all learning. And then you got to understand also, Percy had a lot on him because he was supporting Sonya and Romeo. And a lot of that stuff that they were showing in the documentary, that's all true. They were living in the back of that store. It was no bathroom. It was no kitchen. It was no nothing. And that place was moldy and it was falling down. But P, like I said, P is a student. And a lot of people don't call him that, but dude is a student. I'm telling y'all, whoever listens to this dude is a sponge. If you want to be successful, you're gonna have to do some learning and you're gonna have to do some listening, and that's what he did. So because the building was so moldy and the ceiling and the walls are so horrible and moldy, so what he would do is when you go to a distributor, when you go to a record distributor, they got all the promotional posters and all the cards and all that stuff. He decorated the whole inside of the store with that stuff. So now he don't have to paint nothing. He don't have to get no wallpaper or nothing. All that stuff was free, and he just stapled all that stuff all over there and made it look like a record store.
Yeah, man. He was really had to pinch his pennies, so to speak, just to get by, just to survive.
Yeah, because you gotta. People don't know that man. Percy with that store was. I mean, to be honest, he wasn't like competing with Sam Goody or no shit like that. It was just he had like one display case and he had a little of this, a little of that, and then he would have maybe 10 or 15 videotapes that he would rent out. Like I think it's like $250 a night, and he would have all the hood shit that fools like the Mac and Black Belt Jones and coffee and stuff like that. And then he had another little section where he had some dirty movies. So he was he was a thinker back then. You know what I'm saying? But the business side of it hadn't caught up yet.
Yeah. Yeah. He was just, getting his feet wet, trying this and trying that.
Right. Right. We were
really
all kids, man.
Level, man. I mean, he just, he did things that nobody ever did, which is, very remarkable. But now that you're getting to tell, your story and how you were involved in the early building of No Limit. Looking back, what are your thoughts about it? Like, how do you reflect on those times?
For the most part, it was love, man. We had a ball. We had a ball every day, hanging out with each other. There wasn't no bad blood. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing ugly going on. It was all love. We was just all kids trying to figure it out and try to, break into this industry. You know what I'm saying, without no know-how at all. You know what I'm saying? So, but for the most part, we had a good time. We would do shows here and there. One night, the one night Percy told us he had a show, and it was at a place that everybody in the Bay Area knows. It's called the Crosswinds. It used to be on a Alameda Naval Base. It was a hot spot. This is where Hammer used to take over. Back then, this was one of the clubs he used to take over, and we went there on a Saturday night because Percy said he had a song, so he had his 12-inch of What's the Deal and No Limit, and he dressed up like with his high top fade. He got a shiny shirt on and some slacks and stuff. So me, him, Sonia, and my cousin Magic Mark, and I think DJ Chill, we all go to the club. Now we're not dressed up, we're in street clothes. Percy and Sony's the only one dressed up. So there's a dress code out here where you can't get in no club out here with no street clothes on. Percy Percy is charismatic enough to get us. He was charismatic enough to get us in that club, go up to the DJ, perform a song, walk out and leave, and lied and told us he had a show. He didn't have a show at all. That man walked in there and convinced the DJ to let him do a song, and we walked out and left. That's just some of the shit that we used to do.
Wow. Just as kids, having fun and trying to do what those like Eazy-E and Ruthless was doing. And,
right. Yeah, because we love all people. Huh?
Did you ever reach out to Eazy-E?
No, we never did that. We never reached out to nobody. We just we was kind of following what they was doing, trying to come up from the ground, especially with the success Short was having and Hammer was having, watching them come up from the ground. We was trying to do it like them. We was trying to come from the streets up, and so we never reached out to nobody. We was just trying to be like them. You know what I'm saying? We was trying to build our fan base from where we from, which is the street, all of us.
Yeah. At Richmond, at the time, you guys were trying to carve out your own identity in the hip-hop world. You know what I'm saying? And it is kind of ironic. P comes from, New Orleans and ends up there,
Right.
And then you guys are part of history forever,
Right, but Richmond still ain't where it should be. Not where, not to say it need to be bigger than Oakland or San Francisco or anywhere else, but it's just not. It's to me, it's just not where where it's supposed to be or where it should be. You know what I'm saying? Richmond got a lot of talent. It's a small place. It's a very violent place, but it's a lot of talent there. You know what I'm saying? Some guys came out of Richmond and got major deals. They just didn't go far. It didn't work out. Bad deal or whatever happened. And then Richmond has an equivalent to TRU, who was Calvin T, who inspired E40. So Richmond got a lot of talent, man. And then so to see Percy come in, take the game, and leave, some people praise it, some people don't like it. Because a lot of people feel like he came into the Bay, just learned our ways and the hustle, and then took it back to New Orleans, and they ain't never been back since.
Yeah, you were talking about earlier too, like the Ice Cream Man, Mind of a Lunatic, Mind of a Psychopath.
Right. Right.
Sometimes you can hear the Tupac influence in songs like Heaven for a G, things like that.
Right.
But
see, that's part of his creative process. You know what I'm saying? I guess we all got to have a start or something, or everybody just can't be totally original. So he would. I guess you could say it's inspiration, if you like. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, these days that kind of stuff is cool. People don't frown on that no more. You know what I mean? The younger generation and just cats that's just thirsty for fame and fortune and a platform. They don't see nothing wrong with that, but I do and still do. So, as far as the Ice Cream Man, that ain't my fight. That's Yuck's fight. So, but I know that he's not happy about the shit. You know what I'm saying? I know that for a fact. And a lot of people in Oakland ain't happy about it. So, and a lot of people they try to compare the songs. You know, Percy came out in 95, 96 with the Ice Cream Man. The Ice Cream Man that the Loonies did came out like 94, and it was on Drew Down album, and it never was a single. It was just on the album. Percy took that song and made an album out of it. He made a whole concept for an album out of it. And he took everything that the song was and ran with it. You know what I mean? And didn't give no credit, didn't say nothing about, don't even mention them. If he do mention them, it's just he just touches on it about because they got a problem with him. And he's trying to say, well, you know, my song was more successful than theirs. It wasn't that. But that ain't the problem. The problem is that you took something that didn't belong to you. You know what I'm saying? And we, in the Bay, we frown on that kind of shit. We do not do that kind of stuff. You know, dudes, it's a code out here that dudes stick to, and that code right there, you don't break. That's like me going to do a song called "You Can't Touch That." You know what I mean? You can't. That shit is frowned upon out here, and it still is.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Like we were talking earlier, nowadays it really is bad. But back then, yeah, for sure, man. You had to kind of have your own thing.
Right.
I got
everybody in the Bay. If you notice in that time frame, and even now, everybody in the Bay sounded totally different from anybody else. Short don't sound like Hammer. Hammer don't sound like Shock G. Black Dynasty don't sound like APG Crew. You know what I'm saying? The list go on and on. You know what I mean? So dudes is pride themselves on bringing something fresh to the game and something new and something fly and something pimping. And what those kind of moves ain't welcome. You know what I'm saying? They never was welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you know, definitely, you know, people have said it in the past, and you know, I think him and Yuck are cool now, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this No Limit thing's really blowing up. A lot of people talking about it. The homie Sin from France, he's got a couple questions for you. I'm gonna bring him on real quick. Sin, you there with the MC Big O right here?
Yes, sir. Hi, Scott. Hi, MC Big O, legendary back in the day.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Can you tell us about the members of the Real Untouchables, the first members like Big Ed or Gangsta T or Gary G, the area members back in the day?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Big Ed and Gangsta T I never met. Cali G, I do know Cali G. Me and Cali G did a song together later on after he left TRU, after him and George left TRU. So I know him a little bit. Me and George worked together after TRU, after him and Percy fell out. I never did get the understanding of why they did until this documentary. Now I know, but you know, I really don't know too much about the guys who replaced us, other than King George and Cali G. The other guys I never met.
Sin, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, we lost Sin, but yeah, that was a good question. Yeah, man, it's dope because you go all the way back. Here's Sin again. I think he's got another question for you. Sin, you there?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Can you tell us about the first show of the Real Untouchables? It was in Richmond or another place? The very first.
Oh, the very first show that we did as a group was at the San Francisco Palladium. They used to have like an open mic night. I think it was on a Sunday. On Sundays they used to have like a talent night, and that was the first show we did. The second show we did was for a video showcase they used to have in Oakland. It was like a cable access network called Soul Beat. They used to have a gong show, and we did a show. Our second show was that show, and the music people, I think, had a show. I think we did, and they had a mixer that day, and we hung out with LL and Keith Sweat, and there was a girl out at the time named ICJ. Richie Rich was there. I can't remember who else was there. There was a lot of people there. Excuse me. But we didn't get a chance to do too many other shows because we kind of just fell apart. You know what I mean? Just stuff just started going crazy because people were getting frustrated with the bickering. You know what I'm saying? We'd have fucking shout matches in the middle of the store because Master P and Chili D don't agree on the direction we should go in. I mean, or the song titles or the concepts of the songs. He used to tell Percy to his face that the shit he was thinking of was garbage and whack, and he didn't want to do it, and that's why he was the first person to leave. But we never did. We only did about 2 or 3 shows.
Oh, yeah. It was in 91, 90?
This was 90. This was like the summer of 90.
Oh, okay. Do you remember the first design of the tank logo, the very first earlier logo? How got the idea of this?
Now, from what King George says, that's him and Percy. So when I met him, he had already had the tank designed and ready on his business cards and on other stuff. So I really don't know how the tank really came to be other than what he says in the documentary.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sin, I'm going to go to some music. We got a couple of tracks. We're going to go to this first one here. We'll go with Bay Lace. Why don't you tell us about this one?
This song is a song I did some years back. Like I said, when I became a studio engineer, I started recording. So I recorded most of the 90s and into the 2000s. So I'm sitting on probably 3 albums right now.
Oh wow!
And so Bay Lace is one of the songs that I really liked it, and I wrote it because Percy was on a song with Snoop Dogg, and I think it was and he said Richmond. One of the lines he said is Richmond, Cali is where he be. He hadn't been to Richmond in so long at that point, and even now. So I wrote this song because of that. Because Percy doesn't be in Richmond. I'll be in Richmond. So that's where this song kind of comes from. It's just kind of letting you know how the Bay is and how the Bay runs.
Yeah, we're back, episode 717, Murder Master Music Show. We're here with MC Big O. Man, that's some serious, you know what I'm saying, mob, funk, G-funk, I mean, some parlaying. I mean, dope music, man. When did you record that again?
Thanks. I recorded that. I recorded that 2003.
2003, okay. Yeah, man, that's dope.
Well, thank you, man.
You know yeah, man, and you said you're sitting on these 3 albums.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Why did you sit on them, man? Why didn't you drop them sooner?
I just decided I didn't want to mess with music no more. You know what I mean? I had started getting interested in other things, and so I kind of fell out of love with it. You know what I mean? But I always just held on to them and listened to them and be like, you know, maybe one day I'll drop them. Maybe one day I'll drop them. So my cousin, Kevin the Cool Breeze, produced the song along with my other cousin, Renaissance. Some of the some of your worldwide listeners might know who Hennessy is because he sells records all over the world. You know, I believed in the songs. I believed in all the songs. I loved all the songs. I was happy with them, but I just kind of fell out of love with it. You know what I mean? So people was like, well, so when Percy had first blew up, a lot of people was like, yeah, you should make a diss song. You should diss him, and you know that way people will know that you was involved and all that. And I didn't. I could have did that and rode his coattails like anybody, like other people do, but I wanted to get on because of my talent. You know what I mean? So I never went that route, and like I said, I got interested in other stuff. And to be honest, you know, you still gotta put a roof over your head and food on your table and all that. So you know what I mean? I had to join the workforce and get this bread and do whatever else on the side and make it happen.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, things happen in life too. You know, things come up and people gotta, do what they gotta do, man. But it's better late than never. I'm glad these are dropping.
Right.
We got another one we're gonna play when we get out of here, called Richtown Funk. Do you work with any of the artists in Richmond right now?
Well, I work with my cousin who was he's produced a lot of stuff and had a lot of regional success with Platinum Thugs and a lot of other stuff he's done production on. He's done production for EHE. He's done production for Silk E. A lot of y'all people know her as on a Lieutenant Roastabot song with 40. She's in the coup. He did a lot of stuff for her. Like I said, I did stuff with King George and Cali G. I don't know if a lot of people remember, but Hammer used to have a big, gigantic bodyguard, and him and Hammer fell out. So he wanted to do a diss song about Hammer. So I wrote a diss song for him, and he did a video, the whole nine, but it never came out. And I've done some stuff with an R&B artist named Maverick Neal, who's he's a Luther Vandross type of guy. You know what I mean? He's a crooner. He had a club song called My Lady, and I did a song with him, and just other artists. You know what I mean? Around Richmond, Oakland, San Francisco. You know what I mean? People who was in the ranks and trying to get on.
Yeah. Definitely, man. Richmond, it's one of those areas, like you said, man, it never really reached its full potential, to what it could have been. But we're gonna go to this track. I want to thank you again for, coming on the show. It's dope talking to you, Big O. We look forward to the next. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications, like, comment, share. Also, go over to UGSforLife.com, download the entire archive, and check out new episodes on Apple Podcasts and Blog Talk Radio.